Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Kuf Daled Amud Beis at the very top. The Gemara has been discussing Havdalah on Motzei Shabbos, Motzei Yom Tif. Now the Gemara brings the following Maisa. Ula ikloi lepumpedisa. Ula went to visit the city of Pumpedisa on Shabbos. Omar le Rav Yehuda Rav Yitzchok berei. Rav Yehuda instructed his son Rav Yitzchok, Zil amti le kalkala de peri v'chazi hechi avtil. Go bring Ula a basket of fruit, and that will enable you to then determine how he says Havdalah. In other words, since you cannot eat before Havdalah, he won't be able to partake in the peiros until he makes Havdalah. So then you can go ahead and observe how he makes the Havdalah. Loi Ozel, it says that Rav Yitzchok did not go himself. Shoder le Abayi. Instead, he sent Abayi, his comrade, who also learned at the time of the yeshiva of Pumpedisa. Ki also Abayi, when Abayi came, Omar le, so Rav Yitzchok said to him, Heichi Omar, how did Ula make the Havdalah? Omar le, Abayi said, Boruch hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, Omar, Vesu loy. He said, Baruch hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, and all of the other havdalos, the other expressions of separation, but he did not make a chasima on the bracha. Also, lekamei de'avua. So Rav Yitzchok came before his father, Rav Yehuda, who sent him. Omar le heichi Omar. So how did Ula say havdalah? Omar le, he said to his father, Ana loy azli, I didn't go. Ana shadrise le'abaye, I sent Abaye. V'omar li, and he said to me, Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, that he made the bracha of Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. He made the entire nusach without a chasima. Omar le, his father was upset that he didn't go himself, and he gave him the following toichacha. Rav Nusei demar v'sedrusei demar garma le lamar deloitema shmaitze mipume. The arrogance of Mar, of the master, and the hanhaga of sirur, of iyashrus, not being straight, of the master, that caused the master not to have this teaching taught in his name. In other words, because of your arrogance, you don't want to bring a basket of fruit like I instructed you, and also you didn't want to do the yashrus, the uprightness of indeed being somebody who can be kabel from Ula, the halacha. Instead, you sent somebody else, Abai. You lost the opportunity to have the shmaitza, the halacha said in your name, as the one who's bringing the shmaitza to the Beis HaMedrash. Meisvei, the Gemara asks on Ula's hanhaga, the way he was making havdalah with the nusach without the chasima. All of the brachos, the Brisa tells us a klal, begins with Baruch as a psicha and ends a chasima with Baruch. Chut mi birkas mitzvos, with the exception of birkas mitzvos, like putting on tzitzis, a bracha on the tzitzis, u birkas hapeiros, or bracha on peiros, by priya eitz, by priya adama. Ubracha hasmucha lechaverta, or a bracha that is juxtaposed to a previous bracha. For example, in the case of Shmona Esrei, ubracha achroina shebikriya Shema, or the bracha achroina, meaning the third bracha which follows the Kriya Shema, where we conclude Ga'al Yisrael begins emes v'yatziv or emes ve'emuna. That also is this form of smuch chaverta, but here there's a chiddush that even though Kriya Shema is in between the brachos before, that begins Yotzei Or Vorei Choshech, that psicha still is considered smuch chaverta after the Kriya Shema. Sheyesh behen posech b'baruch ve'ein chosim b'baruch. There are those that we just mentioned beginning with baruch, like birchas hamitzvah or birchos hapeiros. So they begin with a baruch, they don't conclude with a baruch. And there are those like Michas that does not begin with baruch but concludes with Baruch, like Baruch Ad Hashem Go Al Yisrael. V'hatov meitiv poisech bebaruch ve'eno chosim baruch here. Hatov meitiv, even though technically we think it's a samuch lechaverta, but since it's the fourth of the four brachos of Birkas Hamazon, and the first three brachos are brachos di araisa, so therefore we have to distinguish and say the fourth bracha, which is di rabbanon, has to begin with a new baruch. So therefore it's maschi with baruch, and although it's a lengthy bracha, nonetheless it's not chosim bebaruch. Al Kopani, the Gemara concludes on Daf Kuf Hey Amid Aleph at the top, Kasha Ula. This is difficult on Ula because Ula stated that Havdalah does not have a chasima, and yet the Brisa brought the klal that Kol Brachos Poiseach bebaruch v'choisim bebaruch. So here there's no chasima. Kasha on Ula. Or Marlach Ula would answer to you and say, Ha nami kibirkas hamitzvos damya. Havdalah is like birkas hamitzvos. It's similar to the same way that Birkas HaMitzvahs. In what way? Birkas HaMitzvah, my time, what's the reason why Birkas HaMitzvahs, that itself is enough just to be poisech and not chosim, with Baruch? Mishum da hoidahi, honami hoidahi. Because when it comes to Birkas HaMitzvah, it's one statement of hoidah. It's one straightforward way of expressing one's gratitude towards Hashem. It doesn't include supplications or other things that are side incidental. Rather, it's one straight type of hoidah, in which case over here too, the Havdalah is all about one way of expressing the Havdalah without supplications or other shvachim that are incidental, whereby therefore Baruch is appropriate even without the chasima of Havdalah.